And actually, I think most of the newspapers actually follow traditional lines. And we've got, for example, in the Evening Standard Day, there's a big thing. There you go. I can put it to the camera. There you go. A big thing at the moment where Nigel has got his column. As we launch our contract, this is what reform can offer you. So he's getting exposure there. If you have a look at the Daily Express today, they're leading on the HSBC's economists who warn Labour's plans to boost wages could keep interest rates higher for longer. James mentioned about the Times. They talk about Conservatives have warned the UK faces generation under Labour that would transform it into a socialist state. The Eye talks about Nigel Farage and the UK's contract with voters may not add up, as it's impossible to predict the state of the country's economy. And Rishi Sunak is in the Daily Mail saying that Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer wants to extend the votes to 16-year-olds in order to entrench his power. One of my favourite coverage, however, is in the Daily Star, which talks about Count Binface's manifesto. We don't hear enough of that. But Count Binface's manifesto, it features policies such as national service for former prime ministers and a price cap on croissant, which I think is glorious. So there is an extended sort of media coverage. But one thing is obviously in the broadcast side. And yes, sorry, go for it, Basil.
Well, I was just going to say the British people are so fed up with the two-party system. I think 4 out of 5 say they don't trust politicians, basically, that, people like Binface may indeed get elected. In the European elections in Cyprus, a YouTube comedian got in. He's promised to hug 100 celebrities and does various stunts. He's now a member of the European Parliament. So it's not so ridiculous that, people have really had enough of the two.
We've got a former comedian and soap star in charge of Ukraine.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody who used to play the piano with his member, I believe.
The member of Parliament, I'm sure that wasn't, but yes.
And speaking of stunts and clowns, the Tories are turning to Boris Johnson to try and boost their election campaign. Tens of thousands of letters signed by the former Prime Minister are going to be delivered this week to red wall seats currently held by the Tories, again warning about voting for reform will let Labour in. So, of course, it was Boris that won that whole swathe of seats, particularly in the north of England, that had been safe Labour seats for generations in many cases. So they're hoping that a personal letter from Bojo will mean that people swing back to the Tories and they can hang on to some of those crucial seats. I don't think it'll work, to be honest.
It was Boris who effectively won the last one, got that 80-seat majority because he could reach parts of the electorate that others couldn't. He was the Carlsberg politician. He's now turned into this Marmite character.